Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Olga, and I'm head of Kuehne+Nagel IT Service Center, one of the big global corporations, but there is a good things about corporations as well. And today you will learn a bit more what actually does it mean to work for one big global company. But first, a couple of words about myself. I started with Kuehne+Nagel 10 years ago, and I'm in my current role, head of Tallinn ITC, for the last 3 years. And what does it mean? I'm responsible for operations and for people. We have quite a big company in Tallinn, 500 people. So everything which is related to daily operations of IT Center and also for the well-being of our dear colleagues, this is my daily task and responsibilities. But a bit of my journey with the company. So 10 years back, I was looking for the job. I got my 2 small kids at the time. And I was thinking about the next career step. From one point of view, I was really curious to work for one big international company, but I also had my concerns because we all know, we all read that big companies have a lot of bureaucracy, have difficult structures. So I had more minuses on my plate than pluses at the time. But the good thing was that this big global company was opening IT center in Tallinn, which meant that it was from the scratch. So when you join, you don't yet feel that huge company behind. You are joining the empty office, maybe 5-10 people there, so it's not that scary at the beginning. And that was my, let's say, big win in this kind of situation, because I joined the company when it was 20 people on board. Today we have 500 people on board, and my journey was really smooth and interesting. But what company I'm talking about? Well, here you can see, it's called Kuehne+Nagel, but I'm pretty sure not many of you know in details what the company is doing and how we're actually operating. So what I do, I invite you to step into our world and maybe learn a bit something new about one big company, and maybe also to get insights of what does it mean to work for a big corporation. So just a bit of facts about Kuehne+Nagel. Kuehne+Nagel is a global logistics provider. We are operating already 130 years on the market, so it have started even before, it's 1890, by 2 families, Kuehne+Nagel, and it's still majority of shares owned by the family Kuehne. So the ownership of the company is also rather interesting for a big corporation. It's owned by the family. It's on Swiss Stock Exchange, so we are a public company, and we operate in all segments of logistics industry. We are globally #1 in sea freight, meaning that we transport the biggest amount of containers in sea freight. We are #1 in air freight, again meaning by volume, so we transport a lot by air as well. We are #3 in contract logistics. Contract logistics is related to warehousing business, so where the goods are stored, maybe packed, maybe some kind of attached some parts to another parts. I will maybe talk a bit later about this business, but it's also an interesting big industry. And we also have road logistics, of course. Road and rail is something which is overland logistics. So in this area, we are #5. We have 400,000 clients around the world. We have offices also in 100+ countries around the world. We have 1,300 offices, if you wish. Those are warehouses and sales offices and business unit offices, and also some IT offices, as we are representing today here IT company, which is working in Estonia, operating in Estonia. And we have 80,000 employees around the globe. But in Estonia, we have 500 people plus working in IT, and also we have 25 people working in our business unit office, meaning the logistics office. So we have 2 companies in Estonia. So if you maybe go later to Google, then you will find 2 offices in Estonia. But what is exciting about logistics? Let's say when I was joining 10 years back, my understanding of logistics was that company moving goods from point A to point B, and that's pretty much it. And definitely it's done with the systems, with IT systems, because everything is automated nowadays. But that was my understanding of the industry at the time. What I have learned throughout this 10 years, that is enormously interesting area, And it includes practically everything. Because if you think about 80,000 people who need to communicate every day, who need to align on their projects and plans, payments and transactions are done throughout these 109 countries in different time zones and currencies. We are already talking about being a telecom, being a bank, being a finance institution, being an investment institution, and apart from logistics business, which is bringing goods from A to B. And this is actually doing this job really interesting because due to the size, due to the global exposure, you are becoming aware of so many different things that one company can do. And with big corporations, that's usually the case. The portfolio is so large that regardless of your previous education, you can actually find something which will fit your best knowledge or what you do the best. So what I've learned about logistics, meanwhile, I think it's also quite an interesting, maybe a couple of slides for you to understand where Kuehne+Nagel operates, because we are, maybe you don't see so many trucks on the streets delivering packages from door to door, because that's not our main business. Our main business is supporting industries in the production and in maintaining certain services around the globe. So one of the biggest ones, of course, is automotive. So we are supporting big name companies in the world who are building cars, meaning that next to the production side, there might be a warehouse where we have employees of Kuehne+Nagel who are already assembling some parts of the car. And then these parts are going to the factory where the car is assembled fully. Aerospace, again, one industry where we are providing logistics services and supply chain services. Pharma and healthcare, I think this is the most known for KN because we were delivering vaccines around the globe during pandemic, billions of vaccines around the globe. For that, again, you need to have a specific warehouses, temperature, pressure controlled ones. Same for the trucks. This is highly standardized area. It's not that easy to enter that maybe area of business as a startup, but with a previous experience of many, many years, this is something which we do, and we also have a big pharma companies as our clients. Consumer goods, fast-moving consumer goods, everything that we buy from the shops, someone brings those goods there. Industrial goods, which is industrial projects. These are also very interesting. I am pretty sure you've seen some kind of series on maybe National Geographic about being big factories taking apart, then built again in some other location. So very similar to that kind of approach, something that doesn't fit into the container and still needs to be delivered somewhere. This is where our engineers take the step to actually help our customers to transport maybe wind turbines or some big particles of the oil platforms to the new location. High tech, it's again industry which produces a lot of, let's say, equipment, which again needs to be shipped, but also raw materials need to be shipped to the factories where the goods are produced. So we are talking about full supply chain management, where raw materials coming to the factory, but also ready goods then are disposed and delivered across the globe. Retail and fashion, maybe not that interesting, but oil and gas is actually one of the interesting areas. And in Tallinn, for example, we have a development team who is working on development of the software for this kind of business. Maintenance of the oil platform actually requires you to have spare parts somewhere near shore. If something breaks, someone has to deliver quickly. Also the team to come to the oil platform to fix what is broken, because the standby of the oil platform is a huge financial damage for the owner of the oil platform. And let's say maintaining such kind of facilities is a big project and know-how. So another part of, let's say, logistics industry, again, for us would be drink logistics, also emergency and relief. Emergency and relief is, for example, I will bring case of Ukraine right now. So Kuehne+Nagel in 2022 was offering the help of free of charge services in amount of 10 million Swiss francs, meaning that we have utilized our own network of their warehouses, routes, people, experts who are actually able to deliver goods into the regions and to the locations where normal logistics is not possible to do, or you have to deal with extreme volumes in very short times in concrete region. But in normal days, when we are not talking about the war, then emergency relief means also helping during the natural disasters, or helping to rebuild certain locations, or delivering goods that are first need goods for the people. And across the globe, you have many geographical regions where you have earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, and all kind of different natural disasters, where someone actually needs to know how to operate in those conditions. Food service, maybe less interesting, but expo and events. For example, it could be Olympic Games, it could be finals of the football cup, it can be any kind of big events, and someone has to bring again goods to the location from many, many different countries. In Olympic Games, for example, from 100+ different countries in a very short time, and you need to know the specifics of all those countries, and also, let's say, bring everything back. I will just bring you one example of maybe TV crew from Estonia during Olympic Games have half a container of equipment, but TV crew from Germany would have like 30+ containers of the equipment. So different team sizes, different countries. It's pretty interesting, and that's more like project-related logistics, because this is not ongoing constantly. But you need to have knowledge, you need to have expertise. Why I'm telling you all of this, because I want to show you how different businesses are in logistics that we support, and all of those businesses actually require different type of software to run those businesses. And when we are talking about 500 people in Tallinn working for IT for Kuehne+Nagel, the size actually is about 50 teams, 10 people in a team, but it's 50 different products for different industries that those people are doing. And this is where I'm having, let's say, a good illustration for you that in big companies, you always have a choice of choosing what kind of project, what kind of team you would like to work with. So you start somewhere, but then after a certain number of years, you can switch the project, and you have a completely new area for you to discover. Yes, you know something already, but it never gets boring, let's put it this way. So marine logistics, hotel logistics, I think you understand the point. It's more or less that for pharma you would have one kind of software, and for oil and gas you would have a different software, purely from the perspective of the needs of the business. But the role of IT is huge, of course, nowadays. And I would love to maybe bring you some of the inventions of the last century, the biggest ones, in logistics. Barcode is definitely something which is nowadays absolutely normal, but at that day just was an invention. The container and the container ship. So those are the biggest things in logistics, where we can say that something really drastic happened, and logistic business has changed a lot. So this is the past. But if you Google today what are the key and buzzwords for logistics nowadays, then you will come up with this kind of list. This is a Googled list. And if you look at it carefully, then you already understand that it doesn't look like a transportation from A to B. It's pretty much IT what you're looking at. And therefore, logistics are going through tremendous change in terms of availability of technology nowadays. And big companies, and Kuehne+Nagel is one of those companies, of course, who is trying to embrace that change, and our clients also changing their business model, so we also have to change. So we are dealing with a constant change. But don't forget, we have this variety of different industries, and plus we have 130 years of experience. We have enormous amount of data that we can work with and build our technology on. And of course, our, let's say, people is the main value, because without knowledge of people, it would not be possible to create new solutions for the businesses. But this is really inviting for IT people. But is it only IT people who are invited? Let's see. You will see more presentations today. Tallinn IT Center, just one very brief slide about who we are and what we do. As I mentioned, we are 500 people. We have 50+ different teams, working for different products and solutions. Our average age is 34. So we have older people, younger people, but on average we are 34. We have really truly international team because our employees in Tallinn office are coming from 45 different countries. So all those people are coming with different university backgrounds, different experiences, and I can even remember from my past when I was exchange student in US, I had, I don't know, good rates here in math, but when I came to US school, they were using, let's say, same examples, but the method for finding the solution was different. So when you have this kind of variety of cultures under one roof, you also used to utilize maybe some methods which are better. In some cases, maybe you can offer the better method for solution. It creates the opportunity for people to exchange the knowledge. And this diversity helps actually to also provide the solution, the outcome of the problem which will suit bigger variety of the clients. Because if you just work on the Estonian market, you know the local situation, you got a local education, you have experience which is really narrow, and you can serve really well the local population with certain services, but you would not know what customers across the globe might want and might not need. But with international team, you can predict what customers would love to have. We have 25% of women at work. So yes, IT is really masculine, but in Estonia case is much better in this sense. And also we have 37% of women who work in IT center on leading positions, so meaning on managerial positions. It's not something which we're following on purpose, but what we do, we really promote, and we really promote the idea of internal career change. And today you also will hear about different career stories from our own employees and how it has developed. But I would love to encourage everyone to give a try to the big companies, because it might be really exciting and unexpected what you will actually experience. And you don't have to start from CEO position. You can start from trainee position. And about traineeships you will also hear today. So it's small steps, but steady go to their own, let's say, dream. And if you don't even have your dream yet defined, believe me, what will happen to you will help you to define it on the go. But we have talked a lot about change, so I will invite next speaker.
There is also one question online.
Yes.
Is the office language English in Tallinn, or is German also needed in some positions?
Well, our official working language is English, because we work not only with Germany, but with 109 countries in some cases. You can have different customers across the globe, so English is a working language. German, if you know any, would be an advantage, but not needed, to be honest. It will just help you maybe to dive into some documentation, but not more than that.
Thank you.
So, change. Tahir, stage is yours.
Thank you, Olga. That was this one. Okay. Good morning, everyone. To all 5 of you. I am really, it's mind-blowing to see how popular we are. But since we are just a few of us, let's start. Sorry? Oh, there are people watching online. Oops. Okay. Hi, everyone. So those of you who are here, thank you very much for making it. And those of you joining us from wherever you are, thank you as well. We were talking about work. Not a favorite topic of everyone, I think. But it can be if you happen to find something, choose something that you really enjoy doing. Then work is a very, very fun place. Work is something we spend most of our life on or in. I was once thinking with my colleagues that we spend 8 to 9 hours a day together, and then sleep about 8-9 hours, and then we have like 4 or 5 hours maximum left to do any other things or meet friends or family or someone. So mostly we are spending most of our time with our colleagues, and it's very important to be in a good place where you feel you really enjoy the people you're working with. And about working, then. I know we are an IT center, and Julia or Olga already showed you lots of positions that we have, IT related. But if you join us, when you go to work and you will join any company, you will probably part of a team, a project team, or a product team. You will be working on maybe a software development, maybe working on a hardware, some kind of, or a service product. And working in a team has to agree on some kind of ways of working. How do we work together? We can't just randomly work. We have to figure out some way, some common rules, some agreement, how we work. And people have been trying to create those work processes for centuries. But these days, there is a very popular, these days, well, about 20 years ago it started, and now it's a very popular all over the world, something called Agile. And how many of you, just a quick check, how many of you ever heard of Agile, or you know what Agile is? Oh, you do, all of you. Oh, all right. Awesome. I was expecting no answer. I don't know what to do now. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. So the one person who didn't raise the hand, I will tell you what Agile is. Okay. Yes, it's a mindset. I mean, if you Google Agile, you will find 200 different answers, honestly. It will totally confuse you, because everyone is saying the different thing. The way we describe it, and when I say we, I mean me and other people doing the same thing which I do, which is I'm an Agile coach. Therefore, what is an Agile coach? And what is an Agile coach doing in an IT center, right? And what is Agile? So Agile is a mindset. It's a new way of thinking about work. Why do we need a new way of thinking about work? Wasn't the older one good enough or boring enough? Well, we need a new way of thinking about work because the world we live in suddenly changed. Went through a very sudden, historically speaking, very sudden quick change. Oh, I'm moving too much, okay. And what happened? What happened? Anybody can guess. What's the sudden change that happened? Oh, yes, technology happened, right? Well, actually, to be fair, technology has been around for thousands of years. Let's say digital technology, information technology happened this time. And the biggest representation of that was the internet. We got connected from around the world. I mean, it used to be like magic to think like you could just pick up and connect to someone, send a message thousands of kilometers away, other side of the world. And that became a reality. Today, we can communicate with almost anyone, any part of the world, within seconds, minutes. And what that improved speed of communication resulted in more things happening every day. Since people can talk more, they can communicate more, they can discuss more, they can make decisions quicker. So what happens now? More change starts happening at a faster rate. Today, we are having more change at a faster rate than ever before in human history. And here is a thing to think about. This rate of change, it will keep increasing. There is no scenario that it will start decreasing unless the civilization falls down or something. So, with so much change happening, how do we work? How we used to work was we just wake up, we think, okay, I have to do something. We use a process that is very intuitive to human beings. It's called predictive planning. And why it is called predictive planning? Because we plan the future. Little example, if you wake up in the morning, you have to come to university, you make a rough plan in your head. Okay, I'll quickly wash, I will eat my breakfast, then I will get a bus or get in my car, and then I will reach my university. What you're doing is that you are breaking it down into, let's call them steps or milestones. And then you are expecting or hoping that all those things will happen in future as you planned. So you are effectively predicting future. It works in our day-to-day life in short time scales. Next 20 minutes, if you plan something to do, most likely that can happen, will happen. But when we go to longer time scales, months and years, predictive planning doesn't work. Any idea why? Why wouldn't it work? Sorry. I need to learn to stay in one place.
At that time, you might have new opportunities or new technology to handle the problem.
Absolutely. Change will happen. Things will change. So no matter how brilliant, how genius your plan was, we humans are not really good at predicting future. Okay? So don't blame yourself if your plans don't work. You shouldn't plan for too long time because change will happen. So at work, we realized the same thing. And we realized we used to use predictive planning to do projects that would last months, years, right? How strange. We're sitting one day and making a plan for next 3 years project. So we realized that, and we, after a lot of evolution of thought, and lots of happened that I'm not going to tell you, and then what happened, that we realized that, okay, no, we need a different way of planning and thinking about work. And what is that different way? It's a different way of planning, and it is called adaptive planning. Very simple, very interesting. Anybody heard of adaptive planning? Okay, there is no big genius idea here. It's very simple back here in the frame. Adaptive planning is when you do not plan the steps, you decide a goal. And the steps can change at any time. Let me give you the same example. You wake up and you have to go to university, right? In the adaptive plan, now let's say you did predictive planning, you break down the steps, you said rest. So you took a shower, you ate your breakfast, you changed your clothes, now you got in your car, started driving, and the road you were taking is blocked. What are you going to do? Would you sit there with your car and wait until the road gets open, maybe 2 or 3 days later? Is that what people will do? No. What will they do? Exactly. You will turn your car, find a different road. What you are now doing, you had a plan, but you were ready for change. A change happened, and you decided to adapt quickly. It doesn't matter what your steps were. Steps are not important. The goal is important. Getting to the university is important. So this is a slight change of thinking, slight change of point of view, but with very huge implications, and this is called adaptive planning. That's the way we use these days, and the teams which you will be part of will most likely be using agile ways of working and using adaptive planning. And that is why I told you today what it is, right? So you can tell other people. Tahir told us. So when you're working in these teams and doing some work, what kind of work? So you know, in IT, people know about, well, you can be a developer, you can be, Olga showed us so many, those data scientists and all those, okay. But few people know that there are very specific agile roles as well. So for instance, what are the agile roles? Yeah, now I need that. I have skipped this. but we will go here. So, okay, so Agile is something, if you're a developer, you need to know, and if you know, or if you have worked in Agile, your market value will increase. You will get paid more, honestly. So learn it. Product owner. Product owner. It is an Agile role. Product owners, all Agile teams have to have a product owner. And they are also very highly sought after. If you go, go search, like look for jobs, you will see how many people are looking for product owners. Sometimes, and now I have just put here product owner, but this is a role, but different companies call it sometimes differently. So you might see product owner, product manager, product lead, area product owner, global product owner, and so on and so forth. Then we have, for example, so product owner is the person in the team who helps define the what part. What are we going to work at? Okay, not the how part, that's the development and the teams decide, but the what part. Then we have the Scrum Master. Ooh, sounds interesting. What's a Scrum Master? Okay. So Scrum is one of the Agile frameworks. The key word to remember here is framework. Agile frameworks, there are different Agile frameworks. Scrum is one of them. And Scrum Master, therefore, is the person who helps the whole team and also the rest of organization to learn and follow Scrum. Also, mostly in companies, they might be using more than one framework, not only Scrum, but other frameworks too, maybe Kanban, maybe other frameworks. So very often, when you are looking at jobs, you will see there are Scrum Master jobs, so many all around, but also sometimes they are called Agile leads, Agile lead. So if you see a job for Agile lead, it's the same thing, pretty much. You just need to know more than Scrum. Learn Kanban too, just in case. Then also, you might see Agile coach, me. Well, I happen to know even more than that. So, and so all these Scrum Master, Agile lead, Agile coach, and who knows what people may come up with, but they are pretty much the same role. There are so many jobs here that people don't often think of. And I tell you honestly, they are very highly paid jobs. Agile coach, I already went through that. Okay, any idea what does an Agile coach do?
Preach about Agile.
Preach about it. Ta-da! You got me there. Clever. Well, that's what I'm doing right now, so probably that's what I do the rest of the time too, yeah? Okay, yes, that is true. But also when the Agile coach is not doing that, with what you said, then they also help the organization in their Agile transformation. Because, like we said, Agile is a mindset. It's a way of thinking differently. And changing a mindset means changing behaviors that they learned years and years and decades. And changing a mindset is a very, very hard thing. It's part of the things which used to be called soft skills. Now they are called power skills. So hard skills is like what you learn, in university. Okay, you have a degree in IT, or you have a degree. This is your hard skill. Your power skills, these days, employers actually look or value more people with higher, better power skills. And one of the power skills definitely to have is, other than communication, good teamwork, and all this kind of stuff. So other than that, one of the good power skills to have is also being able to coach. being able to help people adapt, think differently, challenge their assumptions, challenge their existing mindset, and that process is very difficult to do. So agile coaches are like shrink. Like I can be your shrink. I can be your teacher. Sometimes you have the teaching hat, you have the shrink hat, and so on. And I'm almost, I think, out of time. So yes, I can tell you, if you like to work with people, the agile coach job and work is like amazing. I have had so many different positions before, actually. And now I do this, and I am really happy. I wake up and I don't like, oh, another day, I have to go to work. No, I wake up like, oh my God, yeah. Damn. Yes?
There is a question online.
Yes.
Regarding adaptive planning, how do you adapt in the case of a sudden huge change, like COVID was?
Excellent question. And here is, let's first of all think about that. Did COVID stop the world moving? No. In fact, when COVID struck us, I remember I was in a place at that time, and when COVID struck us, one of the first things we realized is, okay, we can't meet anymore. We can't go to offices. It wasn't allowed. But we can't stop working. But we as coaches, what can we do to help our colleagues, our organization? We need to help the organization to continue as best as we can, right? What can we do? And we got together. We had an agile coaching community, over 200 coaches around the world. We got together. We prepared a whole set of guidelines. Among them, which tools to use to do virtual meetings online. Why is it so important? Little suggestions like use your camera. When we humans are talking, if you are only hearing the sound, the voice, that's a phone call. If you're only hearing the sound, you do not feel you have met this person. You feel you have talked to this person. But if you can see them and their facial expressions while they are talking, so much more communication happens. You feel so different, and you feel like you have met, kind of. We had a meeting, not a call. So this kind of things. And we created a whole set of helping materials for everyone to be able to continue working as best while being stuck in your home and not allowed to go and meet in real life. So it is just one little example. So yes, being ready for change, always ready for change. That's the agile mindset. You are always ready for unexpected change, and you're always ready. You cannot, of course, know before what change is going to strike, how you will deal with it, but you are ready. And this reminds me of a very, very little. Here's a thing also that comes in called a little bit design thinking. Those of you who are interested about life, just go read about it. I'll give you a little story. This may be anecdotal, not a real story, although I have heard that it's real. There was a truck passing under a bridge, and the truck was higher than what was allowed to go under the bridge. But it went nevertheless. And what happened? It got stuck with the stone bridge, and the truck got stuck. Now they called their company, the people from company came, they're like, oh my God, what to do, how to pull the truck out. They tried everything, push it back, forward, it wouldn't move. Then they tried to call the city authorities, the architects and all the group of people from local administration, they all came. They're like, oh my God, what to do? It's a stone bridge. We can't move it up, but okay. And then there are all of these people, years of experienced people, standing there and thinking. And eventually they also almost decided that we are going to start dismantling the bridge, brick by brick, like stone by stone. And so as to get the bloody through, because the whole traffic is blocked, everything. What do we do? Meanwhile, there was an 11, 12-year-old kid passing by. They looked at them and they like, what happened? And they said, no. Somebody said to him, we're dismantling the bridge.
Flat tires.
We're dismantling the bridge. And he said, why? He said, because the truck is stuck there. And then he looked at the truck, he looked at the bridge, he said, why don't you flat the tires and take the air out of the tires? So, little bit. You never know what's going to happen or stuff, but use design thinking. We prepared. There are always solutions. And we did survive, all of us, COVID. Yay. Okay. We will have a QA session later. My goal today was just to wake you up and tell you a little bit about that we have lots of Agile roles. And we are looking forward to you joining us. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Tahir, for warming up people here. It's so easy now to come here and talk about myself. So my name is Krista Sabbal, and I work in Kuehne+Nagel Tallinn IT Center as a product group lead. I am 36 years old. I know, I don't look that old. I have a daughter who is 11 years old, and I have been with the company almost 8 years now. At the moment, my daily work consists of taking care of over 200 products. So I am the product group lead for the HR products worldwide, meaning that we have our global HR products and we have our local HR products. So how does it look like? When there is a demand for a new product in a country or in a global level, then my job is to find the best possible solution to a problem they are looking a product for. And it's not only this. So obviously being responsible for 200 products, it requires also different teams in different locations. So I have teams in Hamburg, in Tallinn, and also in UK, who then actually do the main job for me. And in addition, I'm also responsible for all the finances, so making sure that the products and the projects are delivered on the budget, and that we don't spend too much money on the IT products for HR. But it has not been always that nice and shiny as it sounds. So when I joined the company 8 years ago, then I started actually a first and second level support specialist in global service desk. At that time, my IT skills, or what I considered as IT skills, were basic Excel, Google, and Facebook. But I still applied and I got the job. Obviously, they were desperate needing people. But what was the fun fact about it was actually that I made it. So I had really cool team members, so I had to start from the scratch. So how to solve the problems that the tickets were coming in, how to solve the problems for our HR colleagues, how to solve the problems for our own employees. And the team was actually guiding me through all the things I had to learn. Then about half a year later, there was an interesting project started that was called Incident Communication Project. And somehow I got my fingers on that as well. So together with a couple of colleagues, we worked out how it would make sense to inform the stakeholders and users when we have a product incident. That worked out well as well. Then a few months later, a team lead position became available. As I had 8 years of team leading experience in my previous company, I decided that I apply, and I got the job. So about less than a year later, when I joined the company, IT company, I was a team lead of the team where I was starting my career. So during the 3 years, when I was in the team lead position, I was lucky enough to go through different leadership trainings and also learn from the colleagues. So what I want to tell with this story is also how well our internal training programs are made or put together to really support you on the areas where you need support. And I would say that the most interesting training that I participated during the team lead position was the regional talent program, where the colleagues were collected from all business units, so from air logistics, from sea logistics, and they were brought together in a one training group where you can exchange the experience. So really, me as an IT person, which I'm actually not, I was able to understand how much the different business areas need IT and what we as an IT need to do to help them move faster and be more productive. So that was like a really eye-opening. And that's not it. So 3 years later, there was one of the first senior management positions opened in Tallinn IT center. So I was thinking already, like, I have been so lucky enough, so should I? Should I apply? I was going to my manager at that time, and I asked, so what do you think? It's like interesting. And she said, so I still remember the words, she said, what is the worst thing that can happen to you if you apply? The worst thing would be that you experience the recruitment process for such position. And the best thing, no, you get the job. On the same evening, I applied. After several months of different kind of tests, and I'm talking about IQ, EQ, mental stability, 3 rounds of interviews, and at some point I was thinking, am I running for president or like CEO or like what they are looking in me? After a couple of months lasting recruitment process, I got the job. And honestly, on that day, I was thinking there is really nothing impossible for me anymore. So in this position, I have been now almost 4 years. Again, throughout these 4 years, I have learned so much. So starting really with the financial responsibility, I cannot manage even my own financials. So managing now the projects where we are talking about not the hundreds or thousands, we are talking about millions. So if you have like 200 products, it's also a lot of money. So really preparing everything and making sure that you are on budget. So this is already like a huge learning curve. In addition, beginning of this year, I also graduated the Global Talent Program, which I'm very proud of. Again, it's a talent program where the talents globally from different business units have been collected together to share the experience and share the challenges with each other and help to find also solutions for problems that we might have in our leadership positions. And yeah, as our topic or like our headline today was Unleash Your Potential, then I do have to say, and I have to also say I'm not getting paid for this. I truly speak my own words. I think Kuehne+Nagel has unleashed my potential that I did not know I have in me. So with all the trainings, with all the people, with all the managers that I have had on the throughout 8 years, and I have had 6 of them. So all the managers have always supported me with whatever I need. Do I need a training? Do I need to go to conference? Traveling. I have traveled within these 4 years more than in my life together before. Meeting with stakeholders, meeting with different external vendors. So I think that's something, I think these 4 years have prepared me for something even cooler, what is yet to come. So I want to finish actually my story with our slogan that is also in some of the hoodies. So I do think that Kuehne+Nagel inspires, empowers, and delivers. So it is a good company to work for. It supports you whatever you need. Not even depending, do you want to do IT, do you want to do leadership, or do you want to do Agile coach? It's all there, we have it. So thank you very much.
Hi, hello, my name is Jakov. I'm a product, it's not mentioned here, but I'm a product lead, and I'm working in Kuehne+Nagel almost 11 years. So I joined in 2012, so this year, in August, it will be exactly 11 years. So I even joined before the office was opened. And well, those 11 years were super interesting, and I want to take you on the journey that I had so far with my IT career, which actually started a little bit before Kuehne+Nagel. And as I mentioned, I'm at the moment a product lead. I'm responsible for digital signature solutions, and but I will cover this maybe later on. But I wasn't dreaming to become a product lead. At that time, when I was still at school, I had no idea that product lead even exists. I don't know if that role was already there, but nevertheless. When I was still at school, the computers were booming. So the computers, as Tahir explained, it was a sudden change. They become available to the masses, and we got one at home. And I was so fascinated about this white box that does something. You have the screen, you can play weird games at that time. I mean, they were 2D, but you still could do something. You have this keyboard and mouse. I was so excited about this. And when I was finishing the school, it was clear for me, for my friends, for my family as well, that yeah, he will go to the IT, definitely. I didn't know what I will do in IT, but I wanted to work something to do with computers. And in my vision, when I was applying to university, I thought that, okay, I want to be maybe a system administrator. So I will be the one guy wearing the beard, slippers, the coffee mug, and somewhere in the basement sitting there and exchanging some kind of components on the system. So that was my vision, because I really like the hardware. And so I applied to Tallinn Technical University, TTU back then, now it's Taltech. And maybe somewhere after a year of studies, I met with a friend. And during the discussion, we started talking about the work. So I was doing some summer job, and he was like, yeah, I'm working at the moment at some local company. We're doing the software testing. Are you looking for the job, by the way? And I was like, software testing? What is this? So he explained me a few words what the software testing is, and I was like, that's interesting. He was like, oh, if you look for the job, we have open positions. Did you apply? I was like, I have no idea about the software testing. I didn't know that it even exists like a minute ago. He was like, yeah, you can do it. I mean, I know you do well with computers. Just apply. I was like, okay. So I did the study. So I went to the Google. I searched the wiki. What was the software testing? What are the different types there? And I prepped my CV. I applied, went through the interview rounds. They were like, provide all the guides, how to install the virtual machines, how to do the testing, and I passed. So I got the job. And the next 2 years I was working for this company. I was super excited because I met nice colleagues. I was testing some really big products there on the IT market from really famous brands. I don't know if I can say them, so I won't name them. And that was amazing journey experience. And after a couple of years, after 2 years, I was thinking, okay, I want to do something else because I'm doing more or less one and the same all the time, and there was not really an opportunity to grow. So I know that there was another company nearby which was doing mobile software testing. So I spoke with a few friends who was working there, and now everybody who works in IT in Tallinn, they know each other. So I had a few friends there. So I spoke with them, so can you tell me what you're doing there? Is it hard? And he was like, oh, it's a little bit different. So you work with mobile devices. Sometimes they're completely, it's not a device yet, it's just a motherboard, some kind of, so it's really cool. You should apply. So they told me also that the interview will be really hard, so I did my studies. I prepped for the interview, I read a bit more, I studied, I changed my CV accordingly. I went through really quite hard interview, I would say. They really pushed me. I got the job, and again, I was doing something different. I had to learn on the job here because, yes, the mobile devices were now at hand. We all had got mobile phones, so it was kind of the same. But as I mentioned, some of the devices were like prototypes, the one that were not released yet. So you had to work with devices like one device cost like $1 million, and you have it in front of you. And it will be released maybe in 1 year only. And I was testing like operating system. So it was interesting challenge. So I had to learn Linux, how to do this BIOS flash, the system image flash through the console. That was totally different from what I was doing previously. And things happened. So the company were going through the weird, complicated times. And I met a friend from Germany. You see the pattern here. And he was like, I'm working for the big logistics company in Germany, and they are planning to open IT office in Tallinn. And since you're living in Tallinn, do you want to apply? I was like, what is the company name? He was Kuehne+Nagel. Kuehne+Nagel? Yeah, it's a big logistic company. Do check them, but please apply. You will find a lot of things there. I'm working there. I'm really excited, so do apply. I was like, okay. So I went on the internet. I was Kuehne+Nagel.com, and there was the number one in sea freight logistics. Wow, more than six. I think back then it was more than 60,000, 68,000 employees, something like that. I was like, oh my God, this is really huge. This is the big logistics. This is the big company on global scale. As Olga already presented, we are represented in more than 100 countries. So I read all of this, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I want to work there. So, and since the company was anyway going through the difficult times and I had to look for the job anyway, I applied, I did my studies. And back then, the positions, since the Tallinn center wasn't yet open, the IT center, we had basically two positions there. One was support specialist in global service desk, and second one was the EDI developer. Since I had no idea what was EDI and EDI development, yes, I read on the internet, I read in the Google that it's electronic data interchange, the one that different companies communicate with, but I wasn't sure that I'm really ready for this, but support was something familiar at least. So I applied for this one. I went for the first round of interviews, and this is maybe where the thing started to change for me. At least one thing happened which changed my way of thinking, my mindset, as Tahir mentioned, where I started thinking differently about the work I'm doing. So during the second interview, we were going for the same questions round, so they were telling me about the company. I was feeling like super proud that I'm applying for this company, and then they started asking me about my experience, and at least now the interviews are really sophisticated. They maybe question your do some kind of psychological questions, or they maybe give you a task, or like something, or they will put you with the team to work with them for one day. But back then the questions were super simple. Do you know SQL? Yes. Okay. Do you know Java? Yes. Can you write a line in the code? Yes. Done. Good. So this comes the question. So we discussed my work experience, and you know that it was software testing, and I was applying for support specialist, and the question was, how your experience in the software testing will help you to succeed in the support specialist role? I was like, good question. I mean, really good question. So luckily the answer came really quickly in my head, and I was like, okay, so if you are doing the support, you must have some kind of support system where the requests from the users come. So you have to read them, you have to know your system, so you have to read the design specifications, you have to understand what the person is writing to you, and if you're not sure, you ask one question, but then you have to create some kind of test plan in your head and test this to verify that it's actually working that way, that you can reproduce it. If you cannot reproduce, you simply reply to the user, can you give me more information? Or I don't know, it's maybe some local issues, but if you can reproduce, then you need to file a bug report to the developers, the same as in testing. So they were happy with the answer, I was happy with the answer, I'm here, so I got the job after the third interview. So since the office was not ready yet, I was sent to Hamburg for studies for 4 months. That period, basically, it was mind-blowing, because for the next 4 months, I was studying, they were teaching me all about the company IT landscape. And we have more than 2,000 applications, and you working in a small company in Tallinn, just basically with a few software components, being taught about 2,000 different applications and enterprise service bus, which is communication channel for different applications. And then there is like document warehouse where the documents are going, and then there are customers, the EDI. So my mind was just exploding, and I was starting to understand, okay, it's even bigger than I expected it to be, because the opportunities here are like immense. The knowledge that you can grasp from the company is immense. The amount of people I met there with different knowledge, database experts, developers, some Agile coaches. There was already Agile coach back then. And there are many, many different people with different IT backgrounds that you can get knowledge from who was teaching us and me. So I was basically grasping this knowledge and building this bigger picture in my head, but it took me maybe a year to put it somehow together, because after that I was sent back to Tallinn, and together with other colleagues, so we had to build a support team for the global sea freight and air freight logistics application. It was the new in-house developed app that we were just rolling out to different countries, and we had to support it. So we had to learn the application, work with the users, and there was lots of requests. And I really enjoyed that, because as soon as you know your solution, as soon as you build this bigger picture, you understand how one ticket, one simple request on one simple ticket from the user can make a huge impact, not only on internal colleagues who are working with the app every day, but also on our customers. So as an example, you get a ticket that something is not working for one user. If you know where it is coming from in the application, and you think that, or you have a feeling that something is wrong, and you test it and you get the same result, then maybe there is a bigger picture. If you know that this is like a critical component, you understand, okay, if we cannot open, for example, the accounting tabs, then we cannot send the invoices. If we cannot invoice the customers, they cannot pay us. And then you kind of build this chain in your head, and you're like, oh, that's a problem. That's a problem because we cannot build the customers, they cannot send us money. And if you know this, if you understand it from one ticket, then you can react faster. You can send it to the developers ASAP. You can mention this to them that this was reported from other countries. Let's fix it faster. And then you kind of you help our internal colleagues to do the work, and you also help our customers. And you saw on the slides, we have more than 400,000 of them, to have a smooth experience and not having their services or maybe shipment interrupted. So having this picture and having this feedback from the users, and the feedback was also when you help them, you get this feedback immediately, because if you're working for some company, you're, for example, testing something here, but the software is somewhere there, like I was in the past. You just test it, you send the results, and that's it. Nothing happened. So you don't have this kind of, let's call it satisfaction feeling in the end of the day. But when you solve some kind of small problem, which you think might be small, but it's not, you get the feedback basically immediately, and it makes you happy. So I was working in such environment, grasping all the knowledge, and I was also being taught a lot about the application. I was traveling a lot, like same as Krista, because again, not much knowledge was in Tallinn, so I had to travel out to Hamburg. I was also sent to Chicago once for this application rollout. That was maybe for another time story. And after 2 years, I was thinking, okay, I may be ready for the next step, because I know a lot. I want to move forward. And there was a new team being opened in Tallinn for the document management system, the one where the documents magically disappear. That's my only knowledge was. And I was like, okay, I kind of know everything, but I don't know nothing about this. So should I apply or not? I applied, and they told me, okay, we cannot expect you to know this, because this is really sophisticated software, and there is like only 2 or 3 software providers in the market, and there is not much documentation available because it's like a kind of company property. So I applied for this one as a system analyst. I hadn't been a system analyst, but in my head, again, I paint the picture that if I analyze the issues, if I analyze the documentation, I can build a picture, then I can also analyze something else. So I applied for this job, went through the interviews, I got the job, and we were starting building a new team in Tallinn. Also traveling to Hamburg again to get more knowledge, because the team was in Hamburg back then. So again, I had to learn the new application, completely new solution. I was told how I had to use the database, so my knowledge from the university where I had to learn the database was already handy now, so I had to do a lot of databases now. And later this year, so maybe less than in 8 months, since the team was growing fast, there was opportunity to, there was need for a local manager, a local team lead in that team. And since I was already doing the interviews for the new hires, I said, okay, I'm good in communication, which I really, practice a lot during my support specialist time. So I was like, okay, I will apply. Let's see what will happen. And a few more other colleagues applied because it makes sense to have this person from the team who already knows the product, who knows the team. I applied, went through the interviews, I was selected. And the next 5.5 years, I was basically developing the team. I was helping to grow. I was also responsible for a few few projects within this team because we had to do the server migration. So we had to do the new redesign of the application for the document processing before they're being archived. And here is where we use the Agile methodologies, by the way, because since we had to develop completely new product from the scratch, you either do waterfall and you're doomed, or you use Agile, and this is what we were practicing. So we had the Agile coach hired for our team to help us change our mindset in developing this product. So I was basically organizing all of these actions. So I was getting what the team was required, and I was also participating in those technical tasks. So these 5 years, that was amazing. We built a great team. We even called ourselves the great team. And good days, good days. But after 5.5 years, I was like, okay, I'm maybe ready for the next step because I'm in this position for 5 years and I want a new challenge because I also went through like various trainings within this position. So we had these internal programs for team leads as well. I think I did 4 or 5 courses, I think, internally. They were intense, I can tell you. And so about 2 years ago, I was helping with one pilot for the new project for the digital signature. And since there was now a position being opened in Tallinn, they needed a product lead for that who will manage the whole product development. And since I was already in this loop, so I was helping them to set up the servers, etc., I applied. Yes, the interviews were harder, same as with Krista, maybe less intimidating kind of interviews, but still they were hard. And in the end, I passed. So now for 2 years, I'm working as a product lead for the digital signature solutions. And I mean, what is product lead? What I'm doing? So I'm responsible for the product development. So, I mean, for us, living in Estonia, the digital signature is just something we do every day. I mean, we have DigiDoc, we have the mobile ID, smart ID. You just sign the document on the go while you, eating a sandwich on the way to the bus or to your car, and you already signed. But if you think about, for a second, the landscape, that we have more than 100 countries, more than, I think, 2,000 offices, am I lying? Something about it, yes. And the regulations and laws are different in each country. Okay, within European Union, we are fine, we have the framework which covers all European Union countries, but even with European landscape, we have, for example, Switzerland. Yes, they are geographically in Europe, but they are not part of the European Union. They have different laws. You have to consider all of this. You have to consider different requirements from different business units that were mentioned previously again. And all of that, you need a solution which will satisfy at least 90 to 99% of all those requirements. And my team are responsible exactly for this, for delivering this product, for doing it to make sure that it's running, providing new features, talking with the stakeholders, which are business and functional units again, like legal team, finance team, and so on. And I mean, it's exciting experience. And maybe to summarize all of that, what I experienced so far, and so what I learned during this almost 11 years, or actually more, if we consider outside Kuehne+Nagel, then take the risks. I mean, what the worst can happen with you, as Krista mentioned. Just take the risk. If you open the job ad and you see, okay, yeah, I'm just fitting maybe 60%, so I don't know, I don't have the knowledge maybe about the databases, I don't know, I haven't used Linux and so on, but you still see that you can do this, you have the ability, you want to take the risk, and you have the how to say, will to learn. Because most of the jobs that we do, we learn on the job. Yes, you need the soft skills, power skills, but still most of it you learn on the job. So just take the risk, apply for it, and if you just go for it, nothing bad will happen. Yes, maybe for one job you won't be accepted, but then, for example, I know that in Kuehne+Nagel, for example, if you're not fitting for one position, then we also keep you and we look where you will fit now with the knowledge you have. So we're trying to fit you so you can grow and unleash your potential. So take the risks and do come to us. Any questions? Questions, okay.
Now we don't have anything online, so if you want to have a quick question, then
Yeah, the sandwich you were eating, what is it? Chicken or tuna?
Okay, we have a question about the sandwich. It was an example, it was just a sandwich.
Oh,
No sandwich, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you. So I would like first to acknowledge how good job the team is doing at the moment. So thank you to Olga for really giving a really great overview and illustration about what Kuehne+Nagel is. And of course, Tahir for waking up the room. And of course, Krista and Jakov for giving us an inspiring career stories in journey, of course, with Kuehne+Nagel. So I want to give you a little bit different story. So again, I'm Patricia, and I have an active break things apart. So for 13 years, I've been a testing professional, and I've been exposed to different domains in different industries, you name it. Now, for 4.5 years, I'm with Kuehne+Nagel, a leading transportation and logistics company. So my tasks and what I do on a daily basis is to make sure that the system applications are working as expected. So evaluating all functions and its components if they are implemented properly. So software testing is really giving confidence or quality of the applications. Of course, combining with series of testing activities such as test planning, analysis and design, implementation, execution, reporting, among other things. And also, we ask a lot of questions. There are no right, wrong, or even dumb questions. We have to make sure that we are building the right product and if we are building it right. On top of that, we also learn a lot of other important skills, like critical analytical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, thinking outside of the box, being attentive to details, and of course, effective communications. So these power skills, as mentioned by Tahir, are really critical, and we learn and develop it at work that we can also apply in real life. So now I would like to ask, is anyone here, or raise your hands if you have idea already of what you want to do, where you want to be in the next 6 to 12 months. That's great, super. That's really great, keep it going. Keep it going. Now, I want to ask again the group, or even the one who is watching, raise your hand, or even just on your own, who here have no idea where they want to be, what they want to be, even after what seems like forever in the academy or university. You know what? You're not alone. You're not alone, to be honest. You're not alone. It's okay and it's totally fine. I, for one, when I was starting, I remember when I was sending numerous of job applications, I still didn't know what I want to be, where I want to be, let alone moving across the other side of the world. But hey, I figured it out. And I'm still figuring it out. So you will figure it out too. And you will figure it out as you go. So if you may, or if you allow me, I would like to share some valuable lessons I've learned. And I'm still learning up until now, if I'm being honest. So first, visions, goals, and aspirations. You have to have it. It's one of the things that will keep you going. It will keep you on fire, if you allow me to say it. Second, money is important, yes. It's very evident in the last 3 years with globally and what's happening in the economy. But at some point in your career, not now, maybe somewhere in the future, you will realize that it's not the most important thing. That job satisfaction will play a role in long term. You gotta love what you do, at least like what you do, if you want to be in this career in long term. Also, your life is going to be a constant succession of opportunities to either do something or sit back and stay comfortable in your bubble. So those people who rise to the top are the ones being assertive. So every moment counts. Don't take it for granted. Also, always default to saying yes to the things that will make you better. So don't hesitate because you're afraid of what other people will think. Do yourself a favor, don't do that. Also, you have a right not to know things. So don't feel stupid or don't be too hard on yourself if you don't know stuff. You just have to ask questions. People in an organization who ask questions, they are perceived as the one who get it and are going to do success. And of course, learn from mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. You have to embrace it, own it, and learn from it. Try not to make the same mistake twice. And also, soon, you will embark in the journey of finding internships, on-the-job trainings, which means I need to go to the next slide. Yeah. So yeah, and the on-the-job trainings, the internships, that is going to be your playground. So make the most out of it. Enjoy and learn as much as you can. Kuehne+Nagel Tallinn IT Center, we offer 3 different programs depending on the student's starting skill level. So really everyone fits in here. So if you can see in the first program, we call it Inspire. So it's a basic program, meaning literally if you have little to no knowledge about a certain technology, or for example, you are in your thesis and you want some additional feedbacks, additional check-ins with a mentor. So the mentorship in here is basically giving you direction in a meaningful way. And then we have the Empower program. So you have the basic skills, but you're still missing something. You're still missing or lacking some skills. So in here, you will learn or apply those technologies that you learned into the product or the project. So these 2 programs, they are running for 2 months. Fully remote and part-time, meaning you have the flexibility to invest how much time you would like to do in this program. And it's a goal-oriented program. How? So every 2 weeks, you will have a check-in with your mentor. So basically, together you will assess your progress and you will get your results. And based on the results, you will define now your next steps or your next goals. So the program is tailored just for you. And also, these 2 programs is not compensated. But moving on to the next program, we call it Deliver. Deliver is a professional program, meaning you have the full skill set, but you're still lacking the experience. So in here, you are working with a real team, working on a real product together. So you're building something together in here. It's a full-time work and it's compensated. So also, these 3 programs, they are renewable. So for example, the first 2 programs, after 2 months, you feel like, I want to continue more. I want to learn more. I want to stay with the pool of interns. So you can renew the program. And also, additional difference between the first 2 and the third one, in the first 2 programs, you learn, develop, and you can take the code with you after you finish the program. But with the Deliver program, the code belongs to KN. It stays with KN. And also, for example, you finish the program, you successfully finish either one of the Inspire and Power program. There's also a possibility for you to join the Deliver program. And of course, for the ones who are in the Deliver program, there's a possibility for you to be absorbed by the team who is open for the internships. So at the moment, the first 2 programs, we just extended the deadline of the applications. So we are accepting the applications. Feel free, everyone, to submit your applications. It's going to be ending in April. But the Deliver program, the application, we're going to start accepting it at the end of April. So, okay, that is mainly the brief information about these 3 programs. To know more about the information, you can just go to our portal page or scan the QR code to know more about the training open positions. But for now, let's go to different scenarios. Let's say, for example, as much as possible, we want to absorb everyone who made the application. But really, in reality, we can only take limited of interns. So what will happen if you made the application and in return you get a reject email? Don't worry, because even a month after, you can make that application once again. You don't have to wait 6 months, 1 year down the line to make that application. So as soon as 1 month after, you can make a reply. Or there's another scenario. If you feel like you're not quite ready yet, if you feel like you're not equipped yet with all the knowledge and basic skills for you to make that application, still, no fret. Because in that email that you will receive, there's going to be a consent form or consent link. you will be asked whether or not you would like to be part of a learning events or learning webinars. So the IT school, it holds every 2 weeks a learning events. So the teacher, the mentor in here will discuss specific topics. And at the end of those events, he will share to you all of the learning materials, all of the learning events. So even if you're not part of the program, you can still be able to attend these learning events, and you can still get these learning materials with you, take it with you, practice it, and develop it at your own pace. And then, when you feel ready, you can make that application again. Because we want you to feel ready, we want you to feel confident to make that application. Because you, the young generation, you will shape our future. That is all our time. Thank you for having us. Thank you for your time. We will soon open for the Q&A session.
Does anybody have questions in here?
Or any of the speakers.
I have a question, actually, for Tahir. Yes. So, for example, I'm not from the IT background. I have, for example, business economics background. Can I be a product owner, or can I be some other part of the member of the IT team, development team?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you. Yes, the question is that if you do not have an IT background or some kind of special degree, can you still be a product owner or a product manager? Yes, yes, absolutely. This position of product owner, as the name implies, it's kind of you're expected to know, you're expected to have some knowledge about the type of product that is being developed. And this knowledge could be coming in any way, from any source. Maybe you have worked previously in a place, in a company that developed a similar product. Maybe you were part of a team previously that worked with a similar product or a similar technology with the product. Maybe you have just been using a lot similar kind of product. But as long as you have at least some knowledge of the domain, we call it the domain, the product, the type of product. And there are, of course, a couple of other things that are very much helping. For instance, that if you have worked in a team, some companies that are global companies like us, we also value that if you have worked in a diverse team, in a global team, and you have some experience of, how to act, how to behave with when you're working with people around the world, and this kind of little things. But in terms of hard skills, you do not necessarily need to have a particular degree or something for this.
Yes, please.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I won't go out, but hi, camera. So maybe I can add a little bit more to this position.
I'm also asking for the rest of the...
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about the product owner role, it's pretty much similar to product lead role. And I mean, in my experience, I can say that, for example, maybe sometimes it's actually beneficial if you're not coming from IT here. Because, for example, as a product owner, to be honest, you're not expected to know really that much in depth about the application, about the IT. So you don't need that technical knowledge. You have the team for that. You need to know the domain. You need to know at least the main information about the product. And it's also, for example, if you're coming, let's say you were working in some organization and you were doing sales, that will be super. Because to be honest, part of my work is also as a salesperson. We do have many businesses, we do have many locations, we do have many offices. Sometimes you need to advertise the solution because the information flows not that fast as you want it to be, and sometimes you just need to promote the solution. So your experience, for example, you're coming from sales, domain, sales, previous experience, you can really apply it and use it because maybe you can create a really nice on the intranet, you can create a really good group. You can really communicate to your customers. You can announce new features and so on. So it's actually beneficial if you not only have the IT background in your experience. So at least this is my 5 cents to this role. Yeah.
Any other question? Yes.
All right. Well, of course, you're an international company, and when I did a quick scan on your opening positions, they are all over the place. Now,
Yep.
how does the company work with people who would have to relocate? For example, if I apply a job for Hamburg or Philippines, does company have support structure in regards of relocation, or are there opportunities regarding remote work?
I think my colleague can answer that better.
I can answer that. In terms of relocation, different countries have different policies, but in our case, everyone who comes to Estonia, we do relocate, we support that, we support the relocation, the paperwork, and also when people are coming to live in Estonia, we compensate the first month while people are looking for living. Similar, but sometimes with bigger maybe packages, help applies in different countries. So in Germany it would be something else, even in bigger scale compared to Estonia. In Philippines I cannot comment, I don't know exactly, but generally yes, we do support the relocation if person applies. In case of remote work, in current situation, we are working in hybrid remote, meaning that we do remote work from Estonia, but we are not working from, let's say, UK and we have a job contract in Estonia. No, the person in UK will work with UK. So we don't do the thing that you move somewhere for 3 months and you still keep working for us in Estonia. This is not really doable right now for us, mainly due to all kind of compliance and legal topics, and also intellectual property right topics. But let's see, the times are changing. So in Estonia, you can work from different places in Estonia for office in Tallinn. So we don't, let's say, come to office 5 days a week. That's.
All right. Regarding applying for a job, are those interviews conducted remotely, or does it require?
A majority of interviews are conducted remotely, but also we do have a trial days. So when the person wants to meet the team and team wants to meet the person, we can also had in the past arrangements where people were also traveling to Estonia from other countries to see the team, to actually, for the final candidates, that's doable sometimes, but not, of course, for everyone in the first stage. But if it's really important for making a decision, especially if it's a relocation decision and the person also brings a family with, then of course to support this kind of decision we also do this trial days.
All right. How intense is the competition for one spot on average, if there's such a statistic?
Well, I don't have my statistics at hand, but I think the needs of the company is much higher than the number of available candidates on the market. So even if a person doesn't fit for a concrete position that the person was applying for, we still have many positions open. So if, for example, it's a Java developer or software engineer, and we have 50 different products, when person is applying, he's pressing one link, but we might have 6 more exactly with the same technology stack. So even if you don't fit in that one, you might fit to another one. So I would say that still pretty high chances to get in.
All right. Regarding different options, does that communication start from your end in terms that I apply on that particular spot and it doesn't suit me, and you offer, hey, there are like 10 other places?
Yes, we have a recruitment center who is supporting us, our own recruitment center, so it's not a service which is outsourced. So when you apply and during the first interviews, a recruiter already sort of asks certain questions. Is that the area that interests you? Because you become a software engineer, maybe for sea freight, maybe for air freight, maybe for finance, maybe for HR. So what is actually the area which resonates? And if it happens so that you press the wrong link when applying for software engineer, not knowing what is actually behind, then the recruiter will suggest, okay, this different requisition is more maybe suitable for you. If you are interested in, for example, maybe finance, and we are developing certain service for the finance, then that would fit you better. So yes, this variety is explained during the interviews.
All right, but for example, if I apply for Hamburg, does still the Tallinn office handle the recruitment process?
Recruitment process is handled by corporate recruitment center, and it's actually located in Germany. So the hiring manager would be from Estonia, but the recruiter will be from our corporate recruitment center.
All right, so if I'm living in Tallinn for now and I'm applying for whichever country, then the point of contact would still be the Tallinn office regardless of my end destination.
No, it will be the recruitment center, corporate one, and depending which position, when you apply, you actually can see geographical scope. So when you apply for the position, you will see for which country this role is. And if this role is located in, let's assume, UK, then recruiter will be from the German corporate center, but the interviews will be arranged with the manager in UK. So you talk to the manager in UK. No, Estonia will be not involved at all. So Estonia will be involved only in the cases where you apply and you see, for example, that this role is open for Estonia and Portugal, for example, meaning that we're looking for exactly the same role for 2 locations. That also can be the case. But if you see Estonia there, it means that recruiter from Germany will set up a meeting with the hiring manager in Estonia and also possibly with the hiring manager maybe in Portugal if it's for 2 locations role. Because we do have sometimes setups that some part of the team is located in one country and same exactly team, part of it located in another country.
There is a question online. First of all, the person is saying that we have an amazing team. And the second question is, what about internship for IT systems administration? Is it still worth it to apply?
Well, applying is definitely worth it, as you just learned from our presentations, but we have certain let's say, roles and positions which are taught in our own IT school. And those are development role, business analyst role, UI, UX, and DevOps. But DevOps is already in the third program, Deliver, which means that it's learning on the job with the team of DevOps. It's not so much online courses with our IT school. So we don't have a program for that role, but it's worth applying and checking because, as always, there is a possibility that might be team ready to take the junior and train on the job. So, worth trying. Even if it's not IT school, it's still possible to do traineeships with teams. Because we also participate in the Women in Tech program where we are taking trainees from this program where people don't have any experience with IT. Women in Tech program teaches students every year some level of knowledge of different professions, and then these students actually reaching the companies. We are not the only one. There is many companies in Estonia who are taking trainees from that program, and then people are continuously studying on job. So, and that also ends up as a recruitment in a case where a person is actually looking for the switch of the career. And there's also another program in Estonia called Vali IT. Again, same topic. It's possible to enter to the IT without actually IT experience in the past, or with a little experience.
Thank you.